What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of MUT Tips. I'm your host, Sean Taylor from the Made Up Theater, and let's jump into today's topic, transaction and teaching scenes. Yes, ma'am. So when I teach beginning improvisers, I generally tell them to avoid three types of scenes in the early goings: stranger scenes, teaching scenes, and transaction scenes. I discussed stranger scenes in episode 3 of MUT Tips, so feel free to go check that video out. But today I'm going to focus on teaching and transaction scenes. And these are scenes where with teaching, it's just a scene about someone teaching something else. How to bake a cake, or how to paint a picture, anything like that. And transaction scenes are obviously just scenes about some type of transaction between two or more people. Buying tennis shoes, or maybe buying a wedding ring, anything like that. And the reason we tell people to avoid these types of scenes is they become more focused on the activity and less about the relationship or something important happening, emotions involved, all that stuff. It's more casual. Because when you buy shoes, nothing really exciting ever happens, right? You try on shoes, you go to the cashier, you pay, and then you leave. Nothing exciting happens, nothing memorable happens. But as you become more familiar with improvisation, then you can approach these types of scenes with new light. So probably the two most important aspects of improv to incorporate into these two types of scenes is a relationship and an emotional state of mind for the characters. So let's get two people on stage for an exercise and give them a suggestion of some type of transaction scenario. So maybe like one of them is a shoe salesman and the other person is buying shoes from the shoe salesman. And at that point, the group director would whisper some information into one of the cast members' ears. So maybe I would call the shoe salesman over and whisper in their ears and say, so the person that you're selling shoes to is your high school crush, and you haven't seen her in 10 years, okay? So that's information about a past relationship that is now going to impact the character's emotional state as well as the choices that he or she makes in this next scene. Or maybe I would say, all right, so the person that you're selling shoes to is your old boss who fired you unfairly. Great, more information. It gives you an emotional state and a conflict in the mind of that shoe salesman. I have to be professional. I don't want to lose this job, but this guy's a jerk. This guy fired me unfairly and I have to be low status to him even though I don't work for this person anymore. So that's cool, that's interesting. That's what we want to see on stage. Emotions as well as relationships that drive choices. So the most important thing that performers need to know on stage is that this activity, this transaction scene, this teaching scene, it's not what's important. It's not. It is merely a filter that we view the scene through. It's just a way to get started. So as improvisers, we need to choose to know that this scene is not just about this activity, it's about something more. So maybe I start a scene and I'm a father teaching his son how to shoot a bow and arrow in the forest. So I know our relationship and I know the activity, but of course, as it starts, it's just a teaching scene. As the scene progresses, maybe I make a choice to know some information that he doesn't know. Maybe I choose to know that he's adopted. And I interact with him a little bit differently because I know the truth that he is adopted and maybe he does not know, or maybe he has suspicions about it, but he still doesn't know. And I interact with him a little bit awkwardly because we're not truly related by blood and I'm fearing this revelation that he's about to experience. And then we build up to it and we play around with that idea and then suddenly I say, you're adopted. And then boom, we have the scene. This is what the scene is about, revelation. And at that point, the son has something to react to. But he also has the tools that we've set up too, right? I taught him how to shoot a bow and arrow now. So maybe since he knows how to shoot a bow and arrow, he might threaten to shoot me because I've withheld this information from him for so flippin' long. Or maybe he just starts shooting things in the forest. Maybe he starts, punching a tree out of emotional release or punching squirrels. Who knows? But it's all payoff from that setup of just teaching him how to shoot a bow and arrow, right? It's a setup that had a payoff. And we can build on it even more so, but that is how we transcend the mundaneness of teaching scenes. Again, when you're in one of those situations, a teaching scene, a transaction scene, just know that is not what the scene is about, okay? You make it bigger. You make it much bigger than that mundane thing. It is the most important thing in the world at this moment. Other than that, thank you so much for watching this teaching scene of MUT Tips. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy the video, feel free to give it a like down below or Feel free to leave a comment with maybe a question you would like addressed in a future video, or just a question to say, hey, I enjoyed the video, or hey, I enjoy your beard, anything like that. It's all appreciated. Subscribe on YouTube, follow us on Facebook for new video releases. Every Tuesday is MUT Tips. Also, on the first and third Thursday of every month, we have new video content, which means the next video is in 2 days. So check it out, everybody. I will see you next week for another episode of MUT Tips. Thank you so much, and bye.